Hi guys, welcome to Odds and Ends again. I'm Cindy and this is Laura. And we have been getting together lately to kind of stock up for a holiday market that we're going to be participating in. And I think a lot of people are kind of feeling inspired by the holidays right now. It may not be the same for a lot of people. Like for myself, I'm not having as much family over. But I do find that I want the joy of the season to sweep over me. So we have been doing little things, and when I was talking to Laura, I said, I think that these are just little small pieces of joy.
Right.
And then she made the comment, yeah, cheap joy. And I just thought, oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
because it's inexpensive. You know, a lot of people are, they're not as financially stable even as they used to be. So that's what we're going to do. Between now and Christmas, we're going to bring you little episodes of cheap joy.
Cheap joy.
So please join us and let's see what Laura has for us today.
Emphasis on the cheap, Cindy, because,
Okay.
So, again, we're doing this holiday market. I'm thinking, what can we do that's inexpensive, that's fun, that you can use either, if you're going to somebody's house, you can use it as a hostess gift. If you're staying home, you can use them on your table at a dinner party, or even if it's just a couple people. You know, it just brings, again, a little joy,
Cheap
a little
joy.
happiness. It's cheap. Yeah, that's what we're all about. So the first thing I want to do is go over the materials that I used and where you can get them and give you some options and what you can do to reuse, repurpose things that you already have. So Cindy turned me on to these. These are really cute 2-inch clay pots, and you can either buy them wholesale or you can get them at any of the big box stores. The craft and hobby stores have them, and they're less than $1 a piece. And of course, the more you buy, you can get them in volume too. I don't know if Amazon has them, but I'll bet you they do. They've got everything. So you start off with your basic clay pot, and we'll go into that a little bit later, how to prep that. For the snow globes, as you can see, it's basically, the pot itself with the ornament inside, and then a little something inside to replicate. It's not an actual snow globe because I'm not that talented. I don't think I could get water to stay in there, and it would just.
And I think you have to mix it with glycerin.
You've got to mix it with glycerin, and then I would have a big mess on my hands. So
and this is perfect for an ornament.
A faux globe. It's a faux globe.
Most of my snow globes just color after a few years.
That's true. That's true. So I got the ornaments, and I'm gonna plug the Dollar Tree because I've really recently discovered them, and I really like their craft section. Now, I go to the hardware section, the craft section, and then the teachers section, which is
school supplies,
and the school supplies, and I found all that stuff there. So I thought it's really cool. Ornaments, you can get these little plastic ornaments there, 2 for $1. And this is what I'm using. And Cindy, you bought some at, was it
Michael's? Michael's, I think you can buy them in bulk, like a big 25 container, 25 piece container, and they even sometimes have them on sale, or like you said earlier, coupons.
Always look for your coupons. So in the bubblegum machines, or the faux bubblegum machines, I used either leftover Halloween candy, that comes in real handy. These are gobstoppers. And they look like Christmas colors. You get a bunch of these and you just open them up. And you got the greens and the yellows and the reds and the oranges, so it's real festive. So leftover Halloween candy, or you can go with these vase fillers. The advantage to the vase fillers is they won't melt if you store these in your attic. And they're a lot lighter. So you could actually attach a string to these and hang them on the tree, because these are a lot lighter. You don't have as much weight as the candies. So I got that from the Dollar Tree. If you want to use some twine, again, 3 for $1. Love it, and they come in the Christmas colors.
I like that.
They have that. When I was there, I saw these metallic markers, and Cindy, you turned me on to
Paint markers, yeah.
Paint markers, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about this, but you know what? For 4 for $1. I'm going to give it a go, and I'm really impressed with these. I really
I like is that what you used on these?
It's exactly what I used on them, and I love them. You got the 4-pack with the copper, the antique gold, the gold, and the silver, and then you have to hit up a couple because not everybody carries everything. There's another one that had the purple, blue, red, and green.
Oh, and those are metallic as well?
And they're metallic as well, and they go on quite easily. They're fun to use. They're very easy to use, and I'm really excited about those. And you can get them on the cheap. So That's always a good thing. On the cheap joy. In addition, as you can, I don't know if you can see this, I got the little tiny Christmas trees at the little wooden stand.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 10 of these for $1.
Wow.
Again, Dollar Tree. They're your friend. And the snow. Don't sneeze while you're using this. It just goes in. My dog's covered with it. The table's covered with it. So, but that's what I use for the snow globes. As far as adhesives, again, in the hardware section of Dollar Tree, I got this Fix-All adhesive, and it's made by Super Glue, so it's really nice. However, and this is a word of warning, I did have a problem with the trees because this part is wood, and I adhere it to glass. For whatever reason,
Oh.
this was not working.
Wow.
I even let it sit overnight, put that little tree in there, and it fell over.
Huh.
So I had to fish it out and start over again. This is multi-purpose cement, which is basically, I think it's like white glue, like school glue,
Okay.
because
Does it come out of the tube white or is it?
It does, and
Okay.
it comes out white, but it dries clear.
Oh, darn. Was that Dollar Tree as well?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was. It was Dollar
Well,
Tree.
Laura.
My gosh. So, and they're in the same area. So just the multi-purpose cement and the Fix-All adhesive. These are the two that I use. And I also use the Fix-All when I'm putting the gems on the sides. That seems to work really, really well. I don't know why. I think it's something to do with the glass. And maybe
I think so.
it's not porous
It's the two
enough.
different, right.
Yeah, it's not porous enough. So and same thing with these little doodads up on top, the finials.
Mm-hmm.
I originally used the super glue, and they fell off as I jostled them around. And I thought, well, that's odd.
Well, I will tell you guys this. I do not use super glue very often for crafts at all. Because even though, both of us have done jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
And even though it will hold for a while, it's kind of like a glue stick. It may not hold for a long time.
Very
so
true.
I'm glad to know you found some new
But
ones.
the super glue works really well on porous things, like adhering the plastic to the ceramic. And it's a real quick hold, and it seems to be really secure. So you can use both of those. The downside of the multi-purpose cement is it takes much longer to dry.
Mm-hmm.
It slows you
I
down.
know. I love super glue for so many things.
Yep. And for these little caps up here, my husband drinks a lot of soda. Let me preface that. That's the only reason I have all of these. And Cindy and I save everything. We're not hoarders. Are we, Cindy? We're not hoarders.
We rescue things.
We repurpose things. I thought, wow, that is so cool. He was drinking a soda, and I said, let me just take that cap. And I thought this would be really cool.
It's perfect
to put on top of this. So that's what I've used here. Now, as you can see, one of the gumball machines, I didn't. And I was thinking later on, because one of my friends said to me, hey, how do you get the candy out? And I'm like, you don't.
It's
because I glued it. But if you wanted to give this to a child, and they're old enough, please make sure they're old enough to eat a gobstopper and doesn't get stuck in their windpipe. You could actually just use this little topper here. As you can see, this is the top of the ornament. And if you pinch this in, it'll hold. It'll be fine. I don't think I would put that on the tree. I don't think it's strong enough to hold. But if it was just a table topper sitting on your table, you could do that. Put the candies inside, and then
that might be a cute little stocking stuffer.
Be a
something.
really good stocking stuffer. Absolutely. So
okay.
That's another thing you can do, and you learn by making mistakes and by doing, right? Findings. So again, I think we both have over the years saved a lot of beads. I found these little square beads. They were a necklace, and I thought that would make a cute little gumball door. But if you don't have these, here's another one. This is another kind of bead.
Oh yeah.
You could do that, or you can just take a square with a piece of aluminum foil. You cut out a little piece of cardboard, cover it with aluminum foil, glue it on there.
That's a good idea.
And then put some beads over that, and really nobody would tell the difference.
Right.
So you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to go out and buy expensive beads.
Use your imagination.
Absolutely. I used to go to this one particular store, and they'd have a lot of costume jewelry, and a lot of it was broken. So what they would do is they would box it up, and for $20 you can get like 5 pounds of beads and then spend the day sorting through all the findings, and it's really worth it because you're getting lobster claws and you're getting jump loops and you're getting all of these really cool beads in repurposing them. So I do that as well. For the tops of the gumball machines, these kind of beads work best. What would you call them? They're flat on the top and the bottom, so they stand without rolling around.
I want to say rondelle, but I don't know if that's true or not.
And that one, feel that one, that's really heavy.
Just little metal beads that.
Yeah, just little metal beads, and then you can put something on the top of them. You can glue little rhinestones on, or something like that. We'll do some close up so you can see exactly what we're doing. So that's basically for the gumball. You've got the pot. Oh, and I almost forgot. For some reason, I had a lot of these, and these are just.
Is that a key ring?
These are cheap key rings, and had them for years, never used them. I was having trouble holding the top of the gumball machine onto the bottom of the gumball machine, so I glued that on like that.
I think that's incredibly imaginative. What a fabulous thing.
And it uses up some of the hoard of stuff that I've accumulated over the years, and that works out really well. You don't even have to paint it. It's silver, and it adds a little bit of color to that. Now, of course, when we're doing the snow globes, you don't need this. So, and the snow globes are a lot faster, a lot easier, and I guess we can show them how to do that first.
Let's do a snow globe.
Let's do a snow globe. Now, so today we're going to work on the snow globes first. You take your little pot, and I don't know if I stress this enough. When you prep this, sometimes they come with these sticky tags on them. They're very hard to get off. I rinse it under hot water, and I try to scrape off as much of it as I can, but you can still see it. There's a residue. You can take some Goo Gone and put it on there, or you can just use hot water. If you get this wet, please make sure that it dries thoroughly. I did not do that, and the paint, once you apply the paint, it begins to bubble up as the water tries to come to the surface. So if you have an old blow dryer at home, that's a great idea. Just make sure that it's thoroughly dry before you put the paint on. So before I paint them with the color, I like to prime them. Now you can use regular acrylic paint, and in this case, I talked about in the past, craft paints. For this project, you really don't want to use a craft paint because it's going to take you 3 times as long. You can use heavy-duty acrylics that come in the tube. They're a lot thicker, and you have to apply less coats. But what I like to do is when I'm painting these, I just got leftover paint primer in one from one of the hardware stores and put it in my little jar, and this goes on really, really well. You can see, as you can see here, I put 1 coat on, and right where that label was, even though I got all the sticky off, it didn't adhere. So here's a little trick. Put your 3 fingers and stick it right in there. That way you can go all the way around the pot and you don't get, hopefully, all over your fingers. And I'm just using a flat brush, putting it directly in the paint. I don't water it down. And you just slather it on there. You don't have to be real neat. Just try to get all the way around that. Now, I also like to paint the inside of the pot. And the reason, the reason for that, as you can see here, the snow kind of gets to one side. You don't see the terracotta, you're going to see color. So you can use the same color as you do the outside of your pot. So that's basically what you want to do. Let it dry or use your blow dryer. And I've got one here already done. Let's put that to the side. So pick out your colors. You can use a single color like I did here. And again, I use these wonderful metallic paint markers. Or, where's my other one? It's around here somewhere. Oh, I went with a silver and white theme here. In this case, I just used a coat of the white acrylic paint, and then I used some silver folk art paint for the silver. You really have to go over this at least 3 times and do that in different directions. So what I'm basically saying is do one direction all the way around, and you don't have to be real neat, and I'll show you here in a minute how you can fix any little errors you make. And then the next coat, you're going to go this way. So you're going back and forth. You're covering it just like you would a wall. You don't want to do it the same way. You want to kind of go back and forth. So after you get your pot painted, and this is going to take a while to dry, look, I've got one done for you. It's very, very easy. I take the pot. Now, as you can see, I know how close we are here, but there's a little bit of paint there. I take my marker, and you can take whatever color you want. I'm going to try gold. Nice. This is the fun part. Because there's this little ridge there, you just rest the tip of the pen on there, and that way any kind of errors that are up on that lip just magically disappear. And you may have to go over it twice, but these dry really, really fast. And these are also what I use to make the decorations on the pot. So I would suggest practicing your curly cues, because I get confused clockwise and counterclockwise, and sometimes they come out kind of weird. You know, they're all going the same direction. So, as you can see, just go around there. It dries, like I said, it dries almost immediately. Just put a couple coats on there. Go up under that rim. And that kind of fixes any overlap that you might have in the paint. So the next thing you want to do is you want to decide what kind of pattern you want. And just play with it. Take your pens and a piece of paper is fine. And just start making some curly cues and see what works for you. They're all a little bit different here. As you can see, no two are alike. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. I mean, if you really screw up, you can always prime over it, you know, and start from scratch. But honestly, these are handmade crafts. They are not going to be perfect. They're going to be just everything's just a little bit different. So again, like I said, don't worry. So I'm just going to do, and I'll show you how I do this. You just start and you make a little curly cue, and you just go back and forth and back and forth. And you try to get as straight as possible. And again, it dries really, really fast. And it's not perfectly straight, but it, again, doesn't have to be. You're just going to have fun with it, and they're not all going to be identical. This is fun stuff here. Cheap joy, cheap relaxing joy. And my hand slipped a little bit there, that's fine. So go all the way around the pot. And when that dries, and it dries, look at this, it dries almost immediately. So have a lot of fun with that. Once that is completely done, take your little, and these are plastic, by the way. They do come in glass, but that makes it a lot heavier. So you just pop that top off there. And these are really pliable. So for my purposes, you can leave it, I take these off because otherwise it hits the bottom of the pot because these are so small. So you've got something like this, and you want to lay it down on a flat surface anyway, because what you want to do, and let's see if you can see that here, you want to give your tree, in this case, some height. So I've used glass beads or clay beads, or a combination of of two of them. The only thing you've got to remember is make sure that you've got a gap inside between the edge here, so this ball will fit all the way down inside. You don't want it to come all the way to the edge. You want to have a little lip all the way around. So I used my little glass bead, and then I glued, and I used the white glue. Again, I glued my little tree on top. So if everything works right, it'll stay stuck. And for the lip here, I brought some different examples. This one I just used flat beads. And you can get real fancy. You can actually, I thought about putting little fake pearls in the little holes here. And that would look really cool. But this, I used the white glue and it stuck. It really worked well. Also, you could use something like stars. I put little white stars on here. Pearls, freshwater pearls, you can get real fancy with that. Or they have these flat beads here, and that looks really, really nice. You can glue those all the way around. And again, I bought this. This is faux snow, for sure, faux snow. And I lay my pot in there so it'll dry straight. So that really comes in handy. And again, Dollar Tree, can't go wrong. So just kind of nestle it down in there. But honestly, you can use anything you have at home. You can, get a sock full of beans if that's what you want to do. And it just keeps it from rolling, and it holds it upright. And it's a real handy dandy thing. So you would glue that on, let that dry a little bit. And then what I like to do is glue on one side. Rather than measure it, I kind of eyeball it and then glue one directly opposite that. Then directly to the right and to the left, and then put equidistant in between. And that's how you can kind of measure it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you want, you can take your paint pen and you can draw in between. So that's that. So this is dry. What we want to do is take our snow, and I put it in a little Ziploc baggie. And just go right in there. Just fill it up, just poke it in there. It takes a little bit of talent. You could also try putting it on a piece of paper and rolling it up like a funnel and filling that in there too. But this works. And you don't need a lot. So this goes, that should be plenty. As you can see, you're just kind of covering the bottom, because otherwise you're going to bury your little tree. So that should, and you can kind of add more snow if you need to. So this is the fun part. I would put a rim of glue around here, but you don't necessarily have to. Just stick that thing right up in there. Yep. And in this case, I would glue it. You could always pinch this shut, but just for a little security. And there you have it. So once that's done and it's dry and you got everything the way you want it, right around here I would take the super glue adhesive, because you're working with porous materials. You drop it right in there and you're done. And it doesn't take you long at all. It's a lot of fun, and I really like the idea of putting somebody's name on here if you're having people over this year. And it's something they can take home and remember. So that's basically it for the snow globes. Thank you for your time, and next time we're going to talk about how to get a little fancier and make the gumball machines. Thank you for watching Odds and Ends. Hi, and welcome back to Odds and Ends. When we were last together, I showed you how to do these wonderful little snow globes. Today I'm going to show you how to do the gumball machines. And basically it's an upside down snow globe. These little pots, as I told you last time, very, very inexpensive. They're easy to do. Again, just make sure that you prime them. I used regular house paint, the acrylic paint with the primer in one, and just did a rough coat all the way around. I like to use two color combinations just because it's joy, it's happy. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to make one that looks like this, only instead of the gobstoppers like I used here, we're going to use these little, these are called, it's vase filler, but they're really lightweight and they're a lot of fun to use. So you use several coats of your acrylic paint to get the color combination that you want. You can draw the little stripe around here. The next thing you want to do is, again, you can take a sock full of dried rice. Please don't use cooked rice, that makes a mess. Use your dried rice. And you put your little thing right there. Just nestle it in there so it doesn't roll away from you. And I've got just a flat bead with another bead and a little rhinestone. And this is where I like to use my Fix-All adhesive. It dries quickly, a lot quicker than the white. Now the white I use for other applications, but when you're putting metal on ceramic, and again, I got this, you can get this at any dollar store. And it's a super glue product, so it works really well. Anything that's a quick drying glue will work. Just don't sniff it in closed space. I put a little line at the top. I don't want to put too much because then it gets messy. And you don't need a lot because the bead you're working with isn't very heavy. So just position it where you want. I like putting it right about there, and I'm going to just turn that around so you can see it. So that's what I did. Okay. And you're going to let that dry. And it doesn't take a long time to dry. Maybe about 5 minutes or so. But just make sure it doesn't migrate. Otherwise it'll kind of go down the pot. So while you're letting that dry, we can work on the topper. As you can see here, let's recycle and reuse, people, as much as we can. I use tops for soda bottles. And in this case, I primed this one first, but if you're using a dark color, you really don't have to. I think I have one that's just actually green in color from Mountain Dew cap, and that worked out really, really well. Again, I take a bead that is flat on the bottom and flat on the top, like these, and you can decorate these. You can add another bead on top of here, so you can make that as tall and elaborate as you want. You can put several beads on. It's just totally up to you, whatever your heart desires. We're just going to have fun with this. And again, just a little spot of this contact cement, and try to get that right in the middle, and let that dry. Now, if you don't drink soda and you don't have any bottle caps around, you don't necessarily have to do this cap. As you can see, this one, I just used the original metal that goes around the top. And if you were doing the gobstoppers, and for kids this is a really good idea, you don't even have to glue it down. You can just set it in there. That way they can get the candy out after Christmas. So that's another option. Let that dry. We glued that on there and we let that dry. So once that's done, what you're simply going to do is fill your globe. And in this case, I love these little things. They're lightweight, they're fun to use, they're colorful, and it's got the red in there. And it comes in, you can get them again at the Dollar Tree. Gold and silver. So you put your styrofoam beads in, and if you can kind of push them through, because they are styrofoam. You just pop that one in there. And I like to fill it up, maybe about halfway. So you're just gonna do that for a while. There we go. And that's kind of fun. Once this is dried, make sure that it has dried. So you can see that's basically, it's a little door, your faux door for the gumball machine. When I was working on these, I had a problem with, like, well, that's not, it wasn't stable enough. So, oh, by the way, I popped this one off. I thought, well, what can I use so I have a little more, I could adhere that a little bit better. I found these old keychains that I had. So again, I use my Fix-All adhesive and just run it around the outside, just a little bit, just like that. And once you've got that on there, now you've got a nice base. And add a little more glue to the center. Not much, doesn't take very much. And you've got your, and I like to try to eyeball it, make sure that it is as straight as possible, just like that. So you're going to put more balls in there than that. But here's your topper. Again, a little bit of adhesive, stick that down, let it dry. It's as simple as that. It's a lot of fun. You got a great little gumball machine. Please join us next time for more cheap joy from Odds and Ends. Thank you for watching.